the pack's been going on, but media day kind of makes it official for us, I guess. Got a big crew in here, and last year we didn't get to see you. What's the feeling like going into the season compared to last year?
Well, as you can see, we have a big squad this year. I think we've got 36, 37 guys in the roster. I think obviously this time of year there's a lot of excitement always, but probably more so because we didn't get this opportunity last year, and we kind of feel like we're back to normal here right now. So the training's been great. I'm excited. This is a pretty young team. When the final 10 guys get sorted out as we go into the Big 12 championships, we might only have 1 or 2 seniors on this team. So it's still a pretty inexperienced team, but a lot of talent right now. So we're really excited to get going. We're probably going to have some wrestle-off matches, not this weekend, but next weekend. And then we're going to use a couple open tournaments to decide who's going to go for us right away early when we open up here, I think November 27th on a Saturday at Hilton. So that's going to be our process to kind of see who our number 1 and number 2 guys are going into the regular season.
Speaking of your lineup, on this sheet right here, you have Ian Parker or Jarrett Dagan at 149. What was that decision like for Ian Parker to move up, and then what's that competition going to be like?
Well, I think the great thing about the sport of wrestling is the freedom to choose what weight class you want to go. And Ian came to me early in the fall and just said, hey, I'm big and I'm strong and I feel really good right now, and I want to stay here. And I support any of our athletes that want to go weight classes. Sure, you always give me a recommendation, but I learned a long time ago as a coach that, the minute I told a guy to go to a weight, it blew up in my face. So I'm not going to do that. He's got the option to go to 141, but, Ian looks great right now. And, Jarrett Dagan understands that he's got to compete for that spot. So obviously there's some things to figure out there, but, early on, that's what it looks like right now is those 2 guys are going to battle for that spot.
Is there any thought of moving Carr up, moving Dagan up, and then having...
Probably not. I don't know if Dagan fits in to the hole at 157. Sure. And Carr's pretty adamant about being a 157 one more time. So I don't know if the following year will be the same thing, but that's kind of the plan right now.
You've got Shapiro, who's been a starter at 97, 84.
Yep.
Sounds like he's going down even more. How's his off-season training been going?
Joel works really hard. He's... him and Broderson are going to battle at 74 right now. They seem to be the front runners. I don't want to diss anybody else in the team, but obviously there's certain guys that are the front runners and certain guys that aren't the front runners. And I always tell the guys that aren't the front runners, if I don't mention your name, don't be upset with me. Just change it. So, but obviously those 2 guys right now and seem to be the front runners, and we have good competition at that spot right now. So, you like to have depth. Those 2 guys that can win for us.
When did you see from Ramzan in these first couple practices, and what's like that next step for him?
I've especially liked what I've seen on Ramzan the last week or so, and he's super dedicated, trains really hard. Wrestling's very important to Ramzan. Just needs to get a little more confidence and get some more wins under his belt. But right now he's the front runner at 133. He definitely is.
Younger Bastida, how has he progressed and adapted to folk style?
What's that emoji? That's that emoji right here, that emoji. He's going to turn some heads this year. He's really had a good off season, and you don't want to look past that guy. I'll leave it at that.
Talk about that transition at all, because I know he came over from Russia.
Yeah, both of them obviously that's their chink a little bit, and so we spend a lot of time with that. We know that when you grow up and you don't have top bottom, folk style top bottom, that's a big issue when you get to this country to address. So, are they great there yet? Are they perfect there yet? No, but they're much improved, and they spend a lot of time working at it. And, those 2 guys both want to win, really want to win. And usually when you're that way, things work your way.
Transfer in at heavyweight. What do you like from what you've seen from him so far?
Sam Schuyler from Buffalo transferred in early this summer. Like him a lot. Tremendous work ethic. Again, wrestling's very important to him. Dude tries really hard. Got dinged up a little bit this summer, so we've only been back on the mat live for about a month. So I'm just kind of getting to learn a little bit about him and how I know he competes really hard. As far as his wrestling ability, the jury's out a little bit for me. I don't know his wrestling level. When he went to the NCAA tournament last year, qualified, went 1-2, we're 2-2. So we know he's got that level in him already. It's just our job to bring that up.
What are some of the particular challenges that come with the roster with this much experience as you point out?
Making sure they don't kill each other when they're out here, because there's a lot of bodies flying around is the biggest thing. But, I like a big roster because I like guys to get different looks in the room. Nobody wants to wrestle the same 1 or 2 guys all the time. And so we've got a room full of options. One day you might wrestle a tall guy that does this, and the next day you might wrestle a short guy that does that. I think it's good to get a lot of looks. So I always err on the side of a big roster instead of a small roster. Sometimes it's like herding cats, but we seem to get it done.
Kyson Terrakina and Zach Redding were 2 freshmen that came on and did really well for you guys last year. How have they progressed from their freshman to their sophomore season?
Both guys really talented. Looks like Redding's going to go up to 141, 33. He kind of tailed off at the end of the year for us last year. 33 was a hard pull. Wasn't the most disciplined with his weight management. Just a young kid, 18-year-old kid. So both those guys, 18-year-old kids, getting thrown to the wolves into a Division I schedule. Both qualified for the NCAA tournaments as babies. So obviously there's a lot of wrestling ability with those 2 guys. So again, this team has a tremendous upside. It's very young. We're probably going to take some lumps and some bumps with that youth, like all youth do. But I think the upside and the future's really exciting right now.
What's the Redding and Terrakina, their off-season after having a year where they were basically the guys, right? Like, what would their off-season look like, taking that experience into training?
Well, there was a lot more expected of him. There was a lot more. Terrakina, came off of things people don't understand about Terrakina. He wrestled about the whole season last year with a torn labrum, all the way through the NCAA tournament, and so that's not an easy thing to do. We really thought he was done, and he just said, "Hey, I think I can go." The orthopedic doctor said he was done. Our trainer thought he was done, but he wasn't done. So, to overcome that all year, so we had to have surgery with him right away, the week after the NCAA tournament. And it was a fairly significant surgery, so he hasn't been wrestling live but maybe a month and a half. So we didn't get a lot of live, hard time wrestling. Redding had a great off-season of wrestling.
I would describe the different options you have at 165.
A lot, right? 65 is depth. We've got a lot of guys. We got 5 guys battling there, and I think 4 of them could really step in and be the guy, and maybe even the 5th. So, this transfer we got, Austin Kreiser, a 6th-year senior now from Campbell. Let me tell you what, that guy can wrestle. He can wrestle. We just got to get him back in shape and fit. He got here in June, and we really like him, but he's got some guys that are battling for that spot as well. Must have covered it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
You bet.